Hi, welcome. I'm Chris Martin. I'm actually here in my office, which is unusual since I've been working from home since last spring. We're here to talk about sustainability as part of Believe in Music Week. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to my father and my grandfather and my great grandfather and my great great grandfather and my great 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 grandfather and 150 years of retired Martin employees who helped sustain this business to the point at which I was able to be the next Mr. Martin. So they must have done something right, right? Sustainability is, there's so many different ways you can look at it, how you interpret it, what you want to do with it. And, I think of it in terms of wood, first of all, because that's what we use, right? What's that old saying? When's the best time to plant a tree? 50 years ago or today. So what did it mean to me? Why? Why is this important to me? Well, when I took over, the supply chain was intact. We have relationships with vendors that go way back. But I began to hear, particularly from my colleagues in the part of the business that sources wood, that there are issues and concerns over harvesting, over illegal harvesting. And so a group came to us, a green group, a fairly strident green group came to us. This is quite a while ago, and they said, we know that Mr. Martin is concerned about sustainability, and we really appreciate that. We would like you, the Martin Company, to sign this document committing to only using certified sustainable wood on all of your products in 5 years. And so document came to me, and I said to the folks in the supply chain, is this possible? And they said, Chris, it's not possible. There's no way to get from here to there in 5 years. I said, all right, don't sign this, because then we're setting ourselves up to fail. But let's begin the journey. Let's begin to look for alternatives. And then lo and behold, a couple years later, we almost ran out of ebony. Almost ran out of ebony. What do we do? Oh my gosh. Well, we've got some rosewood, but that was scary. Then CITES came along and the Lacey Act. The Lacey Act's a good thing. And the nice thing about the Lacey Act is it holds everyone accountable. That if you are in the business of illegally brokering wood, there's nowhere to hide. It's very, very dangerous to do that under the Lacey Act. CITES, when they put the regulations on the rosewood and they picked up all the rosewood, including Indian rosewood, which is really not what they were chasing, that was very challenging. And so I'm committed to taking really good care of these, and there's a reason they're called rare exotic woods. It's because they are, and they're becoming more so. I'm also committed to alternatives. And, I got some flack early on for the X series. This material came from a tree. It was just processed by man. This is wood. It's laminate, but it's wood. It's really durable. This, the fingerboard and the bridge, paper products. Where does paper come from? A tree. So I'm proud of this. I'm proud of the fact that here's an affordable guitar that really doesn't use any rare exotic woods. So I could talk and talk and talk and talk. I'm going to come back in a little while and talk a little more. Right now, I'd like to pass this over to Fred Everett. Fred, what's your current job these days?
Good afternoon, everybody. Chris, my current job is the Director of Process Improvement. I've had the pleasure of working at Martin Guitars since 1994, going on my 27th anniversary, and about the first 22 years of my career here, I was heavily involved in facilities management and our environmental permitting and compliance. That job had me working very closely with our company's energy consumption and also the waste streams that are generated by our process and the impacts of both of those pieces. On the screen now, you can see something that we are really, really proud of. It's called Martin's Green Print. If you hover over a bunch of the little the green leaves on it when you go to our website, you can see numerous examples of conservation and our dedication to protecting our environment. One of the projects I'd like to talk to you today about is our HVAC system at the factory. Due to working with thin veneers, we have to maintain very close relative humidity specifications to build the world's best acoustic guitars. For most of my career, we accomplished this with basic commercial air conditioners, and these air conditioners had natural gas heaters on board. We were able to achieve great temperature and humidity performance out of them, but we really had to pay the price and spin the energy meter in both electricity and natural gas. So fast forward to 2016, we got approval to do a complete HVAC renovation for our factory. For those of you at home, it's like going from fans and window units to central air, but for a 200,000 square foot building. In order to do this, we constructed the central utility plant, put 2 miles of hot and cold water piping on the roof, changed out all the air conditioners, and we were able to reduce our electricity consumption by over 40% and our natural gas consumption by over 20%. In 2018, we were recognized by the Department of Energy for a Better Plants Challenge Partner for being able to achieve these accomplishments. So now I'm going to switch from energy to waste, and the picture that you see right now is a byproduct of processing wood. In Nazareth alone, we make over 175 tons of sawdust a year. We make almost an equivalent amount of that in our factory in Mexico. We use compactors to change our sawdust into 60 and 70 millimeter briquettes. This takes our sawdust waste, and in order for us to divert it from the landfill where it's permittable to send, we actually choose to send it to a nearby cogeneration facility where we can generate electricity from our waste, making it more of a circular economy. In Mexico, they provide their briquettes to a brick manufacturer, and some of the sawdust goes into the bricks, and the rest of the briquettes fuel the kilns to cure them. One final example that I would like to highlight today talks about end-of-life disposal for some of our products. Now, if you take care of a Martin guitar, it's built to last more than a lifetime, but the same is not true for guitar strings. If you know, they do wear out, they go dead, and they need to be changed often. We're very happy that we could partner with Diodario in a project called Playback. The Playback project allows musicians to take their guitar strings and piano strings to a certified playback center. And these guitar strings, instead of going into a landfill, are smelted and converted to a new alloy where they can be reused instead of just filling up a landfill. Last year alone, over 6 million strings were processed through the Playback program, and this year they have an ambitious goal of treating over 8 million strings. So please, instead of tossing your strings into the garbage, go to our website and look to see where you can recycle or reuse your used guitar strings. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass you back to Chris, and he can introduce our next guest.
Thank you, Fred. So, Fred, you know, this is a journey. I'm not sure what the destination is, but I really appreciate you helping me with this. So the first 2/3 of my career, I worked closely with Linda Davis. Linda was our in-house wood procurement manager. And then when Linda decided to retire, Bert Germick threw his hat in the ring. Bert's had a couple different jobs here. And so we're going to let Bert talk about the challenges and the fun, because it is fun, of traveling around the world to source some of these rare exotic woods that we use. Hey, Bert, are you there?
I'm here.
It's all yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Bert Germick. I'm a sourcing specialist here at Martin Guitar, and I'm here to talk a little bit about some of our sourcing practices that support a lot of the sustainability initiatives that we have here at Martin Guitar. I'm going to focus a bit on wood. We purchase wood from all over the world, and we're getting wood from North America, Central America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. And The supply chain practices are different in all these different locations, but one thing that's very similar, and that's the definition of sustainability and the goals around sustainability. Basically, we want to maintain the health of the forest, the ecosystem, the culture, and the economic opportunities. And a huge percentage of the guitars of the wood that we purchase is FSC certified wood. And FSC, you may have seen the logo on some of the products you already purchase, on paper products, greeting cards. It stands for Forest Stewardship Council. And it's a worldwide voluntary program that sets standards for sustainable forest management. And basically, you can trace your materials all the way back to the forest level. And it's very important for us. It helps to reduce corruption that may be in the supply chain, and also provides the standards through all the echelons through that supply chain. A lot of this wood is coming from managed forests. And what that means is they look at the forest, they survey the forest. And I think I have a picture of a management plan if you guys want to show that. But basically, they survey the forest, they look at the trees, they look to see what trees are seeding the forest, what trees are still growing, and what trees they can extract without affecting the ecosystem in a really negative way. So there's concessions. For instance, there's places in Central America where they will log certain portions of land called concessions, and they use a management plan to go in and determine what trees they can extract, and they'll only work from that plot of land for about a year and then move on to another plot of land and not come back to that first plot of land until about 30 years, which gives the forest time to regrow, and it's been very successful. Central America and Guatemala is a very successful program, also a very successful program in Africa. There's a couple different levels of FSC, and FSC 100% allows us to go all the way back to the forest level. There's also FSC mixed credit, which a certain portion of those materials are coming from different concessions, different, so a portion of it would be FSC certified. So our mahogany and cedar is 100% FSC certified. It's coming from Guatemala. We have ebony, sipo, and sapele. That's coming from the Republic of Congo. We have maple and basswood coming from the United States. That's FSC 100%. And spruce coming from Europe. If there's materials that we purchase that are not FSC, we do a lot of our own due diligence. We go out to the sites. We make sure that there's no illegal activity, no corruption occurring at the site where the material is being extracted. We'll try to get to the forest level to look at these things. We work with outside organizations like Rob Garner at Forest-Based Solutions, Preferred by Nature, Rainforest Alliance, the International Wood Products Association are just a couple examples of some of the other companies and groups and organizations that we work with. Every couple of years we have a wood summit where we bring our suppliers in with governmental and non-governmental agencies so we can discuss all the current issues surrounding timber and wood, and it's been very successful for us, and we continue to do that and plan to do that in the future. Other than the FSC piece, we also source materials that was designated for other purposes. We try to reuse logs. For instance, we're using Sinker mahogany on the new David Gilmour D35. The Sinker mahogany is coming from logs that have been submerged in the rivers of Belize for over 100 years. And they're brought up from the rivers, dried out, cut into guitar sets for us. We're also purchasing spruce that's coming from it's coming from reclaimed logs that would have been used for bridges or maybe used for old river barges. So those are some of the other things that we're doing around the timber. We're also looking at alternative materials. We're constantly looking at other wood materials outside of the traditional rosewood, mahogany, and spruce that you're used to seeing. In addition, we're using engineered materials like high-pressure laminate used on our X-Series guitars. We've been using high-pressure laminate for over 20 years. And the paper that's used to make that material is actually FSC mixed credit. We also have Rich Light used for fingerboards and bridges. It's got a really hard density similar to ebony. And we have an example here of one of our newest Koa X-Series guitars that features Rich Light and the high pressure laminate. We also use laminate neck materials, laminate materials for the front blocks and rear blocks as well. In addition to all these things that we do on the sourcing side, we also want to give back to these forests. We want to participate in reforestation projects, and a couple of those projects are local. Some of them are abroad. We have a couple projects with the Wildlife Conservancy here in Pennsylvania, where we provided some money to replant some birch and maple trees in the Pocono Mountains here in Pennsylvania. We also donate money to a park that's very close to Nazareth here, Jacobsburg Park, and we donate money for a program where they're looking at the sustainable management practices on a specific parcel of land. We also participate in some reforestation abroad. There you can see some pictures of some of the programs that we participated with, replanting of mango trees, cocobolo trees, cataloche, granadillo, which are two other alternative species that we've begun to use. We're always trying to look for, learn more about the woods that we're using as well. And we participate in donating money to sustainability programs at some of our suppliers. For instance, there's a mill in the Congo that we purchase wood from that has a small community of about 15,000 people that they help support with a hospital. In addition, they also provide support to about 30,000 indigenous people that are in the concessions where the timber is harvested. And we donate money to that hospital every year to help with that effort. We also participate in wood study programs. There's a program that's going on in India where they're studying Dalbergia latifolia, which is a very common wood that we use on a large portion of our instruments. So we've been participating with that project. We go out and help kind of survey the forest. There's a picture of us maybe a couple of years ago where we were doing that. So that's really all I have to talk about today, but I really appreciate your time, and I'll give it back to you, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Bert. It sounds like the glass is half full as opposed to half empty. So why FSC? Because I've been asked that. You know, it's not free. We got to pay. It's pretty rigorous. They audit us annually. And I thought, you know, we have a high profile. Been around a long time. And I like good publicity. I don't like bad publicity. I don't want any bad publicity around our wood procurement processes. So I thought it would be appropriate to bring in a third party, someone independent of us. I know some people self-certify, and that's fine. We self-certify first, and that's why our audits are usually pretty easy, because we're doing it as right as we can. And so, as Bert said, we've got the mixed use. So much of the wood in a mixed-use guitar would be FSC, but not all, because it's, as Bert said, we still cannot just buy FSC certified wood. It's getting better. It's gotten a lot better. And then there's the full-on FSC certification, and that's what the Earth guitar is. So Robert and I grew up together in Lyndhurst and Rutherford, and my grandfather had a hobby farm in the Poconos, and so we would end up there, all summer, every year. And then we went our separate ways, and we actually reconnected at my cousin John's funeral. And Robert's been working as a artist consultant for the company ever since. One of our most recent projects, which was a lot of fun, was to partner with David Crosby to do the Rock the Vote guitar. But for this show, and the the Martin Journal is just about ready to be printed, and it's going to go online. And the entire journal is devoted to sustainability, and we talk more in there about the initiatives that we've undertaken. So I'm going to pass it over to Robert, and he can talk to you about the Earth Guitar.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Hi, Robert Getzel here, and what an honor and privilege it is to speak with you today. And I'm glad Chris mentioned growing up together. When I was working on this fabulous project, the Earth Guitar, it brought back a lot of strong memories and feelings that I have regarding my relationship with the Earth as well. People have asked me, so Robert, where did you come up with this inspiration for the Earth Guitar? And initially, my answer was, most recently, Greta Thunberg, that wonderful young activist who assembles this large group of students to sit in, take a day off from school as a sort of a protest to alert people that these young people want to change in the way we are handling our climate issues. And she spoke to me personally, it seemed like, that day when I was watching this interview, that I thought, wow, I would like to do something that would inspire maybe these young activists who might be musicians as well, maybe create a guitar that we could put in their hands as another tool in their toolbox to maybe help sell this concept that the Earth's climate is important and we need to take care of this environment. But that wasn't the first time that I was inspired. When I was 10 years old, I wanted to show this photo here, taken in Apollo 8, spoke to me as a 10-year-old when I noticed that this blue marble is really this blue marble Earth is hanging in this black velvet sky, and you realize that there's only one, and we need to take care of it. But as Chris said, we were growing up, really quick story, and we'd spend weekends and summers in Pennsylvania with other cousins and Chris's brother and sister. And I remember one time, Chris was a little bit older, so we were driving back from this event, whether it was a movie or drive-in or something, and one of us, as we were packed in a car, all these kids, one of us threw a piece of paper, whether a candy wrapper or gum wrapper, out the window. And Chris caught wind of this and immediately stopped and pulled over, and it was nighttime. And he said, "Who did this? Go get it. Bring it back in here, we don't litter." And this struck me. It stayed with me. I mean, it's gotta be 47 years later. This event stuck with me that it's important to take care of the Earth, and to which I would address that, Chris, this is not something, this Earth Guitar, we're not just jumping on a bandwagon as the current issue. Chris Martin and his company have really focused on sustainability and caring for the Earth as long as I've known Chris and as long as he's been running this company. And so when this inspiration came about and I went home, and as all inspirations start, I'm sure with most artists, a little pencil doodle on a piece of paper, some colored watercolor paint were set out, grabbed some paper, started doing this rough idea of this Earth in a black sky. I thought this could be a really fabulous looking instrument, and didn't really know what to do with it other than contact Chris and people up here at the organization. And Chris Thomas, I think, who was leader of a green team, kind of was very inspired by this image that I had done and was starting to talk about creating a guitar. Chris has since left, but many of his colleagues have jumped on board with this and believe in this project. And as we sat down to select the materials for this guitar, I was astonished the dedication, and there must have been 10 or more of us sitting around talking about what kind of materials we can put in this guitar that could be something of note that would show that the company is very serious about sustainability. And we went down the checklist. Each one is 100% FSC certified wood component somewhere in that guitar. It's FSC wood, and that means it's, from what I've been reading, managed. Trees are managed, and the land that they're grown on is managed. So as Bert told me today, just recently, it's a very difficult thing to build and construct this entire 100% FSC component guitar. And we, taking it a step further, we decided that it was not going to contain any plastic. I mean, the world doesn't need any more plastic than what we're already producing. So there was substitutes made as far as that goes, bridge pins of bone and a nut in the guitar, things like that. It was quite a collaboration that I was so happy and privileged to be part of. This group of Martin employees sitting around knocking this back and forth over a number of meetings, deciding what kind of wood and components that are going to be in this guitar. And so I'm really proud, very proud of this instrument. It's a once-in-a-lifetime instrument. I'm told it sounds really good. People have said they like the way it looks. I'm just thrilled that I could be part of this project. And I thank Chris Martin very much for allowing me this opportunity to bring my ideas to the table. And sometimes they're accepted, sometimes they're not. But I'm always thankful for Chris's support. So I will throw it back to Chris Martin at this point.
Thanks, Robert. Keep doodling on those napkins. So I'm going to say to you that I think it's okay when you go to buy a guitar to ask the dealer or to contact the distributor or the manufacturer and ask them if they can verify where the wood came from on that guitar. I know we can do that. So I think it's okay for you to ask about that the next time you buy a guitar. I'm going to leave you with, I don't usually read things, I'm pretty spontaneous, but this is my introduction to the Martin Journal. And like I said, it'll be online, I think, next week, and we'll have hard copies available. But I just, I just thought, what the heck. So if you'll indulge me for a moment, I'd like to read this to you. Dear Martin, so of course, I often start with Webster's. Sustainable, a method of harvesting or using a resource so that the resource is not depleted or permanently damaged. Dear Martin enthusiasts, are we there yet? I guess it depends on if you think sustainability is a destination or a journey. I personally think it's a journey. We humans have done an amazing job of extracting resources from our precious earth. And this scouring of our planet has allowed us to create what seems like the good life. And it is a good life. But we risk losing it all to our own greed. We are at a tipping point. We have taken so much that the earth is reacting in unforeseen ways. If you look around, it appears Mother Earth isn't happy. But honestly, I don't think she really cares. After all, the earth is always evolving. We humans just happen to be in the right place at the right time. But we are not doing a very good job of taking care of the environment that we grew up in. We are not doing a good job of preserving this beautiful earth as we know it for future generations. But I don't want this to be like Groundhog Day, where someday traditional guitar woods that are plentiful now become so scarce and expensive that no one could afford our guitars if we could even find the wood to make them. I'm proud of the work we are doing here at the company to become more sustainable every day. I hope you agree with me that this journey is important, not only for us, but for future generations. Change has to start with us. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Call your elected officials and voice your concerns, and give your kids and your grandkids a hug, and tell them there will be a habitable planet for them to enjoy when they get older, if we get started right now. Thank you very much. Enjoy Believe in Music Week.